Imagine it's centuries ago. Under a cold October moon, a village is crowned with smoke and fire. Cloaked figures in tattered robes dance in an ember-lit field, their faces hidden behind bone-white masks. Livestock bones crackle in a towering bonfire, and in the distance, howling wind carries the whispers of ancestors. On this night, the veil between life and death shimmers. This is not a Hollywood set. This is Samhain, the original All Hallows Eve, a night of genuine fear and reverence. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Tonight, we unearth the forgotten truth of Halloween. Beyond the party games and candy lies a story older and darker than you might think. Together, let's peel back the masks and follow Halloween from ancient Celtic temples to modern suburbs, asking, should we be celebrating this at all? Strap in, this is not your typical Halloween tale. Long before candy corn and costumes, the Celts of Ireland and Britain observed Samhain, pronounced Samhain. It marked the end of the harvest and the start of winter, a time literally called the dark half of the year. As the crops dwindled and nights grew long, people believed the line between the living and dead thinned. Shadows lengthened not just on the ground, but in the spirit world. On Samhain's Eve, villagers lit massive bonfires to ward off ghosts and lit candles in windows to welcome lost loved ones home. They piled extra seats and set out feasts for ancestors expected to join them. There was nothing innocent about these rites. People feared evil spirits that night. To survive, they disguised themselves as ghouls, wearing masks or animal skins, trying to trick any wandering demon into thinking they were one of them. They ate in silence, danced wildly, and left liquid offerings for gods and ghouls. Cattle were slaughtered, their bones thrown into the fire. It was literally a festival of the dead. Prayers to the departed, sacrifices to gods, and hopes that the darkness would not swallow their world. In short, Samhain was about survival in the face of death. It was about fear and controlling it. No child smiling with a lollipop, no carefree party. It was terrifying, necessary, and very real. As Christianity spread, the Church saw Samhain's popularity and made a bold move. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III declared November the 1st All Saints' Day, All Hallows, to honor saints and martyrs. The old Samhain night became All Hallows Eve, our Halloween. In effect, the Church Christianized the date, hoping to replace pagan fear with prayers. But the adaptation was only skin deep. The dead were still honored. Costumes and bonfires didn't vanish. In fact, as history notes, the wearing of costumes and masks to ward off harmful spirits survived as Halloween customs. The ancient fear lingered. Even Catholic tradition added All Souls' Day, Novi 2, to pray for departed souls. In some places, children went souling, knocking on doors, asking for sweetened cakes in exchange for prayers. The modern trick-or-treat is actually a distant echo of these medieval rituals. In essence, All Hallows Eve kept Samhain's core, a night of death and spirits, just under a Christian name. The theology changed, but the superstition stuck. For many medieval Christians, October 31st remained a spooky night, now framed in holy terms. Fast forward a millennium. In the 19th century, the Irish famine sent millions overseas. They brought Samhain, All Hallows, to America. But something astonishing happened. By the mid-1900s, Halloween mutated into a secular celebration. The soulful knocking became a children's candy ritual. The bonfires shrank to backyard pumpkins. Trick-or-treating, as we know it, was popularized in 20th century America. Costumes went from wooden masks to superheroes and movie monsters. Yet the ghost of consumerism replaced old spirits. Today, Halloween is a retail monster. Americans are expected to spend a record-setting $13.1 billion this year on costumes, decorations, and candy. To put it in perspective, that's nearly $100 for every man, woman, and child in the country. Retailers, spooked by their own profits, say nearly 75% of people will celebrate and haul in treats. Billboards advertise ghoulish parties. Online stores hawk glow-in-the-dark skeletons. The holiday has been sanitized of religion but drenched in commerce. It's become less about ancestors and more about indulgence, buying the scariest costumes, devouring sugary candy. Tonight's monsters, in many places, are cartoonish, but the industry is very real. Nowadays, Halloween's reputation is split. Some dismiss it as harmless, others warn of occult dangers. Let's separate myth from history. Halloween is not a satanic worship day. Despite urban legends, no historical evidence ties Halloween to devil worship. Even the Church of Satan doesn't claim it. They view it as a secular holiday. The costumes and monsters come from folklore, not the Bible or infernal ceremonies. However, we must also reject the opposite myth. It's pure innocence. Halloween isn't just a sweet, innocent party. Its DNA still carries ancient fear. We honor ghosts and death, albeit unknowingly. In fact, our tendency to play with the macabre is a nod to those old rituals. It's more accurate to say it's secular, not satanic, but still deeply tied to death and the unknown. It's a ritual dressed up in modern clothes. So yes, Halloween can be fun. Frightening movies can be thrilling. Kids do love candy. But let's be honest, those cheap plastic tombstones in front yards, the spider webs, the very word Halloween, all trace back to pagan fear. We tell ourselves it's just for fun, but maybe that's easy talk. Why do we buy into this darkness so gleefully? Psychology has an answer. Fear is fascinating. Halloween is basically a government-sanctioned scare session. Psychologists call it a tension management ritual. We build scary scenes, haunted houses, monsters, nightmares, but in a safe environment. Our brains release adrenaline when we see a ghost or hear thunder. We scream or laugh and then feel relief. In controlled doses, fear can be exhilarating. Costumes play a big part. Psychologists note that masks create a buffer. When you hide behind a mask, the danger feels fictional. You become someone else and can face scary themes you'd normally avoid. Dancing around in a Frankenstein suit or slasher movie mask lets you confront horror from the safety of your living room. Meanwhile, buckets of candy, a massive positive reinforcement, sweeten the whole experience. On Halloween night, social rules flip for a few hours. Adults suddenly encourage children to act silly or scary. One researcher notes, this is our one night a year when we're not only allowed but encouraged to stop making sense. In a way, it's communal therapy. We might laugh at a monster movie, but unconsciously we're coping with real anxiety, death, the unknown, the dark. Look around. Skeletons, zombies, graveyard props are everywhere. That omnipresence tells us something profound. Death is our greatest fear, and Halloween is soaked in it. All year, modern life insists we ignore death. Then one night, we parade our dread on front lawns. Why? To feel brave, maybe, or to pretend we're in control of something we usually can't control. The crossover with religion is complex. For many faith communities, Halloween is a red flag. A 2006 survey found about 1 in 10 Americans avoid Halloween for religious reasons. Among weekly churchgoers, far fewer hand out candy or decorate. Some Christians see Halloween as glorifying the occult, or at least honoring false gods. Pastors in some circles call it dangerous, a night that could open doorways to dark forces. They point to its pagan origin, inviting spirits wearing skull masks, and warn believers to stay far from it. On the other hand, some religious leaders have tried to reframe Halloween positively. Catholic tradition, for example, encouraged All Saints' Day vigil, remembering saintly souls instead of ghosts. Some churches hold harvest festivals or trunk or treats on October the 31st to reclaim it. They argue it's fine if kids are just dressing up and doing crafts, as long as they also say a prayer or learn about saints. In those communities, the masks become costumes for Mary and Joseph, or angels, not demons. Yet for many, the question remains, why wink at Halloween's darker side? If you believe life and death are sacred, celebrating witches and voodoo dolls, even in jest, feels contradictory. Even outside of Christianity, some Jewish and Muslim families avoid it, seeing it as imitating non-native customs. Meanwhile, modern pagans, Wiccans, do celebrate Samhain as a holy day of reunion with the dead, embracing its original meaning. The point is, Halloween sits uneasily with various beliefs, not because it is inherently evil by itself, but because it was never just about candy. It's a cultural ritual tangled with spirituality and mortality. Ignoring that, some feel, isn't an option if you care about faith. So here's the punchline. Millions of us will dress up and go out tonight, and for most it will feel like harmless fun. But remember the journey, the festival of bones and spirits, the solemn church nights, the immigrant law, and the consumer boom. Do you know why you celebrate? If it were up to our ancestors at Samhain, they'd be shocked, maybe appalled, that we turn their sacred vigil into a cartoon holiday. Or perhaps they'd see it as a clever way to turn fear into fellowship. Ask yourself, are you just blindly following a tradition? Is Halloween right for you, or is it something you grew up doing because everyone else did? Traditions matter most when we understand them. If this has given you a new perspective, think about it next time you flick off the porch light. We'd love to hear what you think. Did we unearth something you didn't know? Leave your thoughts below. Until next time, stay curious and question everything. If you found this exploration eye-opening, consider subscribing to our channel for more stories that peel back the costumes of history. Thanks for watching, and have a thoughtful Halloween night.